The year 2000 was a big one for One Piece. The manga was entering its third year, and an official anime adaptation produced by Toei had just started months prior in October of 1999. What really makes the year special, though, is the release of One Piece's very first standalone movie.
Hi, my name is Galvanium TV, and I'm watching all of One Piece for the first time and reviewing every piece of media I can get my hands on. Normally, I do that here on my channel's Shorts tab with individual episodes, but every time I finish a major collection of story arcs, I like to group everything together and upload it as a full saga coverage. That includes movies, special episodes, and anything else I think is notable enough to include. That does mean I've already talked about the first One Piece movie in my East Blue coverage, but in retrospect, I feel like I did a disservice to the early movies by not going as in-depth as I could have, so today I'm once again here to talk to you about One Piece the movie. Much like One Piece's previous theatrical release, One Piece the movie was released as part of a special event. While the 1998 OVA was released as part of a Shonen Jump event, this time around there was a different culprit. The Toei Animation 2000 Spring Anime Fair was part of Toei's biannual Anime Fair event, held during Japan school breaks every year from 1990 until 2002. A successor event to the similar Toei Cartoon Festival, each fair would have a selection of different Toei animation properties debuting a new film in a double and sometimes even a triple feature. In One Piece the movie's case, it was a double feature with Digimon Adventure, Our War Game. Now is also a good time to say thank you to the editors over at Wikimon, a Digimon fan encyclopedia. Their page on the Toei Animation Fair is by far the most comprehensive source I could find available in English. As for the movie itself, to give an oversimplified summary, everything starts with the story of a pirate named Wunan, who plundered enough gold to make his fleet glow as bright as the sun in the middle of the night. It's okay though, because he only stole from bad people. A young boy named Tobio, enamored by his legend, set out to sea in a box only to be caught in a storm and accidentally comes across Wunan's former ship and crew as they're being devastated by the fierce Eldorado. Then the first opening from the anime plays, albeit cropped to 16:9 from the 4:3 standard the show was broadcast in at the time. You see Sanji there? Well, take it in while you can, because this is his only appearance in the movie outside of the credits sequence. One Piece the movie was released right as the Syrup Village arc in the anime came to an end, so status quo wise it takes place post Usopp and pre Sanji. So no cook for this one. The Straw Hats are all hungry because Luffy ate all the food, leaving them nice and distracted for the Hyena 3 to sneak aboard and steal Nami's loot. When they get caught, they shoot Luffy, and then shoot him a bunch more when that doesn't work. Luffy smashes over to their watercraft and accidentally hurts the child from the intro, but it's fine because everyone gets busted up by Eldorado firing his shout blast.
I'm a firing my laser!
In the aftermath, Luffy and Zoro smell food, so they speed over to a mobile Odin stand that happens to be owned by Tobio's grandfather, a man named Gonzo. Luffy and Zoro each their heart's content while Gonzo scolds Tobio, but when it's time to pay, they can't scrape up a mere 11 berries between them. In a Reddit post from 3 years ago by a now deleted user, the calculated equivalence of berries to USD using the price of cabbage is 93 to 1, which would make the cost of the full meal roughly equal to about 11 cents. However, if we operate under the more likely assumption that 1 berry is equal to 1 yen, in the year 1999 when the movie would have been an actual production, the conversion rate was an average of 114 yen to 1 USD, with a low of 101 to 1 and a high of 124 to 1. Using the average, that comes out to 9 cents for an entire Luffy-sized meal. Gonzo chains up the two to work out paying for the meal, and the Odin ship docks at a nearby island. Coincidentally, this is the island Eldorado and his men have determined to be the home of Wunan's treasure. Usopp also managed to dock the Mary at the island and is very quickly captured while Nami watches from a distance after stowing away on Eldorado's ship. Thinking quickly, Usopp lies about knowing where the treasure is and manages to trick Eldorado and his men to letting him see the map they stole from Wunan's crew instead of immediately killing him. It comes with a very strange riddle, which Usopp concludes to mean the treasure must be in the east. It turns out there's actually just a literal whale statue that faces the opposite direction of a set of ruins. Upon making it to the ruins, Usopp nearly gets caught in his BS until Nami joins in and the two pretend that there's treasure buried under 3 days worth of digging. Eldorado decides to unleash his shout-based devil fruit power, the Goe Goe no Mi, to avoid doing any manual labor. Luffy and Zoro show up after hearing his shouts, still chained together and with Tobio nearby. Zoro fights Eldorado with one sword and both his hands tied behind Luffy's back, managing to get a few good blows in before Luffy gets caught on a rock and accidentally slingshots both of them and Tobio away. It turns out the whale statue's tail doesn't point east, it points north, towards a mountain on the island. The Straw Hats and Tobio decide to scale the mountain, running into Gonzo. It turns out Gonzo and Wunan were childhood friends, so Gonzo wants to bring him a pot of Odin for personal reasons when they reunite. At the top of the mountain lies an empty house with a secret basement that Eldorado has his swordsman, Golas, destroy. Golas and Zoro fight, and I bet you can guess who wins. Luffy fights Eldorado, and I bet you can guess who wins. The Straw Hats and the Odin boys walk into the
basement, ready to find Wunan. And they find him alright. The thing is, he died a long time ago, and his final days were spent returning his treasure to the people it was stolen from initially. But he left one final note asking for anyone who finds him to not disturb his resting place, because the real treasure was the friend he made before even starting. And everyone lived happily ever after. I think the best place to start talking about the movie is the visual style. One Piece the movie is set apart from all other Toei animation due to the very medium it was produced with. The One Piece TV anime since it started has been animated digitally. The same goes for pretty much every movie in the series, with One Piece the movie being the sole exception, being produced using traditional cell animation. In fact, you can still find cells from the movie on online auction sites like eBay for the low price of multiple thousands of dollars. This difference in mediums contributes to a pleasant visual twist on One Piece's normal style. The colors are familiar, yet slightly muted. Granted, that might just be due to the format I watched it in and also the fact that I'm colorblind, but there's also that ever so slightly visible shadow between cells in certain shots that you just don't get with digital animation. And to top it all off, all the backgrounds are in a different style than the East Blue Saga's predominant watercolor style background, with much more solid colors and less highlights. Personally, I like this slightly alternative visual style as a one-off thing for a single movie. The characters look fine and the background style isn't bad, but I do prefer the more vibrant look of the series proper. Beyond the visuals, the writing is pleasantly adequate. It's not breaking into any new territory, but the Straw Hats are all consistent with their East Blue characterization, and the original supporting characters are well written. The credited writer is Michiru Shimada, who had nearly 20 years of experience writing anime TV and movies, including on the One Piece TV series, so it was always in good hands. On my first watch of the movie, I wasn't very fond of Eldorado. Most of his lines are about loving gold, finding gold, or spending gold, which can get pretty grating if you don't look at it from a thematic perspective. The whole movie is about greed and the pain that comes from valuing gold above all else. Wunan's pursuit of gold drove him away from a friendship that he would eventually consider to be his greatest treasure. Golas wouldn't do anything for Eldorado without getting paid first, and Zoro calls that out specifically as the reason he lost. Eldorado can only think of gold and gets easily tricked and fooled by the mere notion that gold might be close by. Meanwhile, Zoro fighting for honor is how he beats Golas, even pulling a "come fight me when you fix yourself" and a call forward to the Baratier. And Luffy's pursuing Wunan to recruit him, not to take his gold, and he straight up shatters Eldorado's gold armor in their fight. The whole theme is also reflected in the journey that Tobio, the anime original obligatory child sidekick of the movie, goes on. He starts the movie off idolizing Wunan and wanting to join him in the pursuit of treasure, even dismissing his grandfather, the guy who charges 9 cents for a meal, and his love of cooking Odin. Tobio doesn't actually do much in the movie and is mostly along for the ride, but still determined to meet Wunan even when the group runs into his grandfather halfway up a mountain. It isn't until Luffy, a fearsome pirate, literally scoops his grandfather's cooking off the ground and still compliments its taste that Tobio sees there are greater things in life than gold, something solidified by Wunan quoting Gonzo's words from the day he departed in his final message.
俺が命をかけてでも欲しいと思ったもの、それは黄金ではなく
So when you look at it all from that perspective, having the villain of the movie be essentially a dragon in human form who won't shut up about gold is a spectacular choice. I also like how the team behind the movie leaned into this. His name is literally a portmanteau of Eldorado and Dragon, and his ability is to shout out beams reminiscent of a dragon's breath, albeit his beams are force damage and not burning damage, kind of like Cyclops from the X-Men. Quick side note, for a decent amount of years his name was localized as Eldrago, following the Japanese pronunciation, and also was translators presuming that he was named after the pirate Eldrake, and this continued until his official Romanized name appeared in a much later movie as Eldorado. It wasn't until rewatching the movie to make this video that the thematic throughline finally clicked in my head, and honestly, I dig it. I'm no stranger to the pursuit of gold, but all of that gold would be meaningless if I didn't have my friends along for the journey to earn it, or the stories to tell about it. You see this gold skin? It takes a minimum of 12 hours to unlock that curse, and that's if you cheese it. In the words of the Pirate Lord, it's not about the gold, it's about the glory. That's all to say, although this isn't my favorite movie, or even my favorite One Piece movie, One Piece the movie is still solidly a worthwhile watch. That's all I've got for this one, but if you want more, you can subscribe to the channel to get notified for when I release the next one of these reedy reviews, when I recover One Piece Clockwork Island Adventure. And if you aren't patient, you can just watch my East Blue and Alabasta full saga coverage videos I did instead. My Sky Island full saga video is coming soon, but I have a lot more planned than the previous two, so it's taking a while.